And welcome back to Jeff Konenge live here at Citizen Television. The bench is full tonight. It's a full house because the topic of conversation is from the Stone Age, as in people throwing stones and rocks, to the phone age. That's what we saw yesterday at the demonstrations. Mandamano was all about phones, and it looks like a game changer. Thanks to the Gen Zs. On the far end, Shadrach Kiprono, a.k.a. Shad. Right next to him, Wanjiro, activist. Right next to him, activist number one, numero uno, Boniface Mwangi, straight out of jail to the bench. Right next to him, Mbakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino. And right next to me, Senior Counsel Paul Mwangi. We're all talking about what happened yesterday and what it means going forward. Boniface, let me ask you real quick. Is this like a... for lack of a better phrase, is this like the new Arab Spring?
In a way, yes and no at the same time, because Arab Spring fizzled out, and people were supposed to be overthrown or not overthrown. This particular one is actually people coming, doing the civic duty. You know, in time past, we vote. When they don't do their job, we say we have to wait for 5 years for them to hold them accountable and to punish them. But this younger generation is telling Ruto, we can't wait for 1 year to start having our periods. We need our periods cheaper. Kama ukiongeza tax kwa pads, tutanyesha, because we can't afford, we can't afford to buy sanitary towels. Yes. So basically they're saying, your taxation is not killing us in the future. It's killing us now. And that's what the call is not about amending the finance bill. It's rejecting it. Come back to the people, engage the people and say, what do we want done? Because our government says they are broke. But our president is never in Kenya. He's ever flying, actually. Yeah. You know, used to be a cabin crew.
It is.
You used to be.
I was 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Yes. If
the president travel for free all over the world, become a cabin crew, akuwe air hostess. Lakini mambo, si ukuwe president, then you become a tourist. It's never in this country. It's saying that the government is broke, right? You have money for renovations. You're giving billions to their spouses. You're giving Mudavadi an illegal office money. You're spending money when we shouldn't be spending money. And then he bribed every member of parliament, including Babu, with 30 million shillings. How is that a bribe? CDF has been padded. Every member of parliament is going to get an extra 30 million shillings for the CDF fund. What that means, look the other way as I do what I want to do. Babu just told me off air that UDA members of parliament are very afraid. Kenya Congress are very afraid of Ruto. Why are they afraid? Tell us. I don't understand, because,
you saying
they disagree with the bill. UDA MPs disagree with the bill. They don't even agree with the president. They never see him. He's a tourist. He comes to change clothes, then he leaves the country.
Jeff,
so
because Bonnie has mentioned something about Babu.
Yes.
And I need to respond about it,
yes.
Right? So, Bonnie, when I want to tell you that CDF is more impactful to a common mwananchi on the ground than even the county funds. And number two, in terms of education and security that we provide. Just a minute. Then number two, Ruto cannot afford Babu Owino. And that is why Babu on a daily basis comes out clear, guns blazing against Ruto. Because I went to parliament to represent my people, to work for my people. Because of the kind of lifestyle that I lived while I was growing up, Jeff, the kind of suffering, I know what it is to lack school fee, because I lacked at some point. So when I'm told that a child has been sent away for fees, I know what it is to lack school fee. I know what it is to sleep in a cell like Bonnie. In fact, Bonnie has he just left for a day. I've been held in cell in Communicado for several days. I know what it is to feel like how Bonnie is feeling right now. I know what it is to feel like that Mama Mboga. When I see a Mama Mboga, I see my own mother who sold changa to take us to school. When I see a boda boda rider, I think about myself. When I see a youth who has lost hope in the slums, I think about myself as Babu Owino, because when I was living in the slums, I lacked it. I lost it all. Yeah. So therefore, the challenges that I experienced, I cannot allow other Kenyans to experience. So that's why I come out every other time. Yeah. I come out to defend the rights of those who elected me. And that is why there is the opposition, no matter few in number as at the moment, and there is the Kenya Kwanza. I cannot justify the wrongdoings of Kenya Kwanza.
There's no opposition. There's no opposition. Hold on.
Babu is the opposition now.
I just read something about Generation Z.
Yeah.
Because it's not a Kenyan phenomenon.
Right.
It's happening.
It's global.
It's global. The Generation Z in Israel has refused to buy the same story of why we have to keep killing Palestinians, and they are telling everybody, saying, not in my name. And they have totally rejected that narrative. The Gen Z in America has refused to follow up with Biden and keep on financing this war on Gaza. In fact, it now looks really clear that Biden is likely to be a one-term president because of Gen Z. Gen Z in West Africa has taken over how many countries now? I think they're like
across the Sahel.
Across the Sahel. Burkina Faso, Guinea, Niger,
Mali.
Yes, and they've done it through the ballot and the bullet. In some places, a guy got out of jail, was president in three weeks. In Burkina Faso, Gen Z in the military said they're not going to take this anymore, and they took power. And they said, yeah, we do this as a generation. ANC has just tested Gen Z. And the ANC was saying, oh, no, we are the ones who we finished apartheid. I said, no, we don't care. We want you to attend to what we need. And in fact, now ANC has been forced to go to bed with the white man.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for East Africa. It's going to happen to us. It's of course, politicians are taking it like it's a joke, but it's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Well, Angela, tell me something. How did you get involved in this? By the way, what do you do for a living? What do you do what's your day job?
I have a business. I sell CMOS.
You sell?
CMOS.
What is CMOS?
Conversation for another day. Let's talk about yesterday's protest.
Is that a Gen Z thing?
Kinda.
CMOS ni samosa manini?
No. It's some kind of a seaweed that's very rich in natural minerals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
108 of the natural minerals.
Do people eat it? Do they drink it? What do they do with this?
Yeah, you can take it as a capsule, or you can make a gel out of it, or you can put it in smoothies. It's very good for your skin and for better sleep and for your hair and for things like that.
Okay.
But CMOS is not the subject today. I'm also at the Madari Social Justice Center. I'm coordinating the Ecological Justice Network in Madari, which is bringing different youth groups working on environmental initiatives in Madari to try and green Madari. If you've been to Madari, you've seen how it looks like, and bring about good environment in the community. Now, yesterday's protest, historic, absolutely. Mainly because it was the people deciding for themselves after the realization that there's absolutely no one to save us. Not our representatives as the members of parliament, not Baba, not anybody, unless we come together as a people and unanimously say, we reject this and we must be heard and we will see this to the very end. I've been protesting for the last 10 years, actually.
Is that right?
That is right.
So when the stones were being thrown in other protests, you were there?
That is why I'm saying yesterday's protest was like no other protest. Absolutely. It was.
Do you see it as a game changer?
Absolutely. There's a game changer. Previous protests have had leaders. Like, for example, I come from the social justice movement. And we would always have people designated to lead the protest. But yesterday's protest was a hydra. There was no one single head that could be cut off. It was organic and horizontal. And that is key, because it also changes the politics of this country now, because the politics have got to be absolutely issue-based. It's not about personality. It's not about...
Are you worried that you don't have a leader or the movement doesn't have a...
No.
You're not
I
worried.
am celebrating the fact that there's no one specific person who can be called to negotiate or to shake hands, for example. It's, can we discuss the issues that we are raising as protesters? We have said we do not want this finance bill. We do not want its amendments. We simply do not want any more tax. We cannot afford it. We do not want to hear anything about it. We want the bill to be completely taken off the table.
Can the Gen Zs form a political party?
Absolutely, and it is a discussion that is already going on, that the next step should be consolidating our political base as the young people, the Gen Zs and millennials, kicking out everybody who is an enemy of the people this time, and fronting our own leaders come 2027.
Tell me something. Gen Zs are the age group from what, 1997 to 2012, is that it? something like that. 1997 to 2012. That's Gen Z, and millennials were just before
backwards.
that.
Yeah. Me, I am a millennial. I could pass for a Gen Z.
You look like a Gen Z. Okay, Shadrach, your role. You said 3 days ago you.
Is the Gen Zs and the millennials.
And it's now.
And it has started. You see, when I started tweeting, I was saying, just plant the seeds. The seeds will grow. People, by the way, I'm already out of this. People have taken it up. It's going far and wide. Gen Zs and millennials, they have taken over. They will change this country.
Okay.
Somebody here said about last thing. Somebody said here something about a party for Gen Z and millennials. Please do it. Find those people on TikTok. Add them there. They will help you with this liberation.
What if it's, you started Occupy Parliament, right?
Yeah.
Now I see Occupy Nakuru, I see Occupy Mombasa, I see Occupy Eldoret. How is that working?
Jeff.
Oh, hold on. No, how is that working?
That is my answer. That is not Boni's. That is for me to answer. Boni was not Occupy Mombasa, Occupy what? Tulianza Occupy Parliament.
Yes.
What Mark is called Mark Marangu. He's the one who started doing those posters for Ilianza Occupy Parliament, ikakuwa Occupy Nairobi. Kidogo Occupy Mombasa. The next one was Occupy Mombasa. Aisha Hamis Ali, Mwambili Magodi, good work. Ikaenda ikakuwa Occupy Meru. When I woke up today, nikapata Occupy all towns in Kenya.
Yeah.
Please continue.
All right. I want to step that question and come back to what I was saying before. I want us to focus on issues. And I said this, and I'm going to say this on national TV. The president bribed all members of parliament with a 30 million extra on the CDF money. It's not the work of the MP to pay for me my school fees or to do for me my security. That's the work of the national government. The work of the parliament is legislate and oversight. The problem is CDF is...
Boni is wrong. That is misrepresentation of facts.
One moment.
No, let me finish, because even the CDF, the court declared CDF illegal. The thing is, so the members of parliament want to be the kings of poverty and queens of poverty. They give you handouts, so you can feel like you owe them something. If they legislate and oversight our national government properly, and our money goes to education and health and security, you don't need handouts from members of parliament for them to come and pay fees, because what they do, likulipia fees. Remember this thing, the money in CDF is taxpayers' money. The reason why members of parliament are quiet, because they're going to benefit in this excessive over-budgeting, because they're being given extra money. They've also been promised rural electrification, which means Ruto has a company that sells poles. So he's going to sell poles to your villages and bring power to all of you. So he's going to eat twice. He gets money for his government and gets money for his pockets. So is it true you're getting 30 million shillings extra in this budget that you're saying that you should reject?
Very well. Now, Jeff, number one thing that I want to talk about is that when I came here, we have not come here to have a banter with Boni. We've come here for a bigger picture, the bigger picture of Kenyans, Kenyans who are suffering, Kenyans who've not taken their children to school, Kenyans who can't afford 3 meals in a day. This is not about Boni and Babu. Boni vied he was an aspirant for a member of parliament in Starehe. Why did you want to become a member of parliament if at all you are bitter with members of parliament?
No, to oversee and legislate.
Are you bitter just because you lost election?
No. We're talking about a 30 million bribe. No, we're talking about a 30 million bribe.
I'd like to interject.
Yes.
I'd like to interject.
Go on,
I'd like to say that Kenya is not a poor country.
Yes.
We're very rich.
Exactly.
We are a rich country. What we need, please put down your hand. What we need is proper management of the national resources that we have. If we have that, we would not need for Babu to pay for school fees for anybody, because education would be free and quality.
We were promised free education, Wanjira.
Yeah. If we had, have you read Katiba? Have you read Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya?
Yes.
That is on social justice.
Correct.
A right to food, right to healthcare, right to highest attainable healthcare, right to water, right to this. These are basic human rights that are promised in the 2010 Constitution, which has not been realized. And that is what Gen Z is pushing for. When we say we need better, it is the realization of those basic rights. It is the realization of a government that understands human rights and social justice. And that is completely not what we are seeing from the Kenya Kwanza government. We are saying the absolute opposite. We are saying disrespect and disregard for the rule of law and for the Constitution of Kenya 2010.
Paul Mwangi, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this before you answer. Gen Z started publishing phone numbers of everyone from the president to members of parliament. And they put them on TikTok. And they said, you know, call these people, call these people. Is that legal? Whatever happened to Article 41 where it says privacy?
Public officials have no privacy, have no right to privacy.
True.
Even us over here.
Yes.
Boni.
Public elected.
Public elected.
Boni could claim some private rights.
Yeah.
But Babu?
Babu can't. He's elected, he's a public official.
Person.
He cannot complain if people circulate his number.
The president?
Him too. Public officers, a lot of their lives are public. And a lot of their information is public. And they can't sue about that. In fact, in more developed, like in America, if you're a public official, you can't even sue for defamation. You'd have to prove that the person is maliciously injuring you.
Defaming you.
Yeah, defaming you. But the fact that I said something defamatory to you, you can't go to court. And that gives people the space to criticize public officials. So, and they've gone a further step because now they have, after the numbers, those who offend Gen Z, they are beginning to track them down to their homes, to their families, to their children.
Good Lord.
And exposing you.
Is that legal?
It's still illegal in this country. They're stealing from us. They're stealing our future. They're stealing our present. What we're trying to do to them is expose them. So because normally in a country that laws work, they would be in jail. Half of the guys in this government would be in jail. But because they're not in jail, what they're doing to them is a social jail. So Gen Z are saying, you know what, they won't jail you, but you're going to send you to a social prison so that you can be ostracized. We know your kids go to school. We know your parents leave. We know when you steal from us, what you buy. We know who you're sleeping with. You know your health status. It's true. You know your sexual orientation. They're doing that to everyone. And I think it's a fair game because, look at this. Last year, there were peaceful protests in this country. What did the government do? They killed people. They went after people. So they're telling people, we're putting shame and fear in those police officers so that they know if you come and touch someone, we shall come after you as an individual. You can't go and hide in State House because you live in a Mabati house in Kibera, police lines or Pangani police, we shall expose you. And the thing about Gen Zs, they say F respectability. They don't care about respectability. They don't care about your religion, your God, your values, your morals. They don't care about those things. They're saying, what is the Constitution saying? What is those things that you promised us that is in the Constitution that you want you to fulfill and uphold? There's nothing that these people are asking for that is not in the Constitution. Every single thing is there.
Shadrach, let me ask you this. Is this sustainable, what happened yesterday? Is this sustainable?
I'm a storyteller, I told you. I'm going to answer that with a short paragraph. One of the reasons why Moi was very successful in suppressing things was people were scared of him. He instilled Jogoo House. He instilled fear deep inside their hearts. Mimi kama millennial, I still have some of that fear because in 1992, I was 4 years old. I remember my mother running because a bullet rang out. Hapo nje ikamwa crawl inside the house because she nearly died. So I still have that fear. Do you know I love Gen Zs? They were not born, they did not experience the Moi fear. So that's why they don't care about Ruto. They will say whatever they want because they don't have that fear. So to answer your question, yes, it is very sustainable. Gen Zs do not fear anything. One last thing, please. One last thing. 1 second. I'd like to answer this guy. The reason that Boni, I'm defending him, I don't even know. The reason he vied for, was it Sare?
Yes, the peace
was because of one thing. What is the work of an MP? The MP, Parliament, is it the third arm of government or something, the legislature? It is their work to make laws that work for the country. If the ones who are inside there have already been corrupted such that somebody, one of 2 or 3 of Abushomba, I think walikuwa nasema, I not listen to the will of the people, I follow. She said, or he said, my master, Ruto. We sent it to Parliament.
Look at the Busham is on our side.
Oh, who was it who said my master?
Must be.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I'll do what my master says. If you have been that corrupted, we will drop you and put Boni and put Edwin Sifuna there because they know what they're going to do there. So to answer you.
There's a factor on sustainability.
Hold on. Before that, what he said about the Moi era when we were growing up, that fear factor.
That's why I said the riots, it was terror.
Yeah.
It was literally terror. And even if people got killed, nobody would get to know because you simply just block it out.
And you disappeared.
Yes, you just disappeared and that was the end. Remember, a lot of people died in Sabasaba, nobody even get to know the exact number of people who died. I wanted to say on sustainability that my generation feels that we have incomplete business. Because when we started, our fight was interrupted. And Moi was able to mix us up. And the people ruling us today is my generation. And they started confusing us from 92 with YK 92.
Yeah.
So we were messed by our own generation. By the time we got to 92 and multi-party came, and a lot of the things that we thought we could do, we couldn't do. So there was a lot of excitement yesterday in my age group when they saw Gen Z. A lot. And people are saying, no, we have to support them. And people are saying they'll have to support their children at home, their Gen Zs at home, because we can't lie to them. We are not going to deliver to them. We are done. We have no more fight. Yeah. They have the fight.
And the sustainability, can they carry on for another week, another month, and another,
Well, they have the passion, but I think my generation is ready to support them.
You are?
Yes.
Jeff, I think I can answer.
We are ready to support them to take on a fight that we are not able to.
Right.
Yeah, my generation is scared of Ruto, scared of Gachagua. These guys don't care.
They don't care.
So you tell them, hey, come, move on.
Babu.
Jeff, I think, when revolutions start, they gain a life of their own. Mm-hmm. And what started from yesterday about the Gen Zs, it reminds me of several revolutions across the globe. When we go to 1949, the Chinese Revolution, which is famously called the Peasant Revolution, the Mamamboga Revolution, that was headed by Chairman Mao Zedong, together with Deng Xiaoping. Then you rush back to the American Revolution, which was headed by General George Washington, together with Thomas Paine. And then there was also Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. It took place in 1765. Why am I saying these years? Because I want to say that in 1765, not 1865, 1765.
The American Revolution.
Yes.
Before independence.
Before.
They got to 1776.
Before
it was 1765.
Yes.
Right? Then you move first to the French Revolution, which was the revolution against the monarch.
Yes.
King Louis XVI.
And Marie Antoinette.
Where Marie Antoinette and King Louis XVI were guillotined in 1793. The revolution took place in 1789.
You know your history.
Headed by Maximilien Robespierre, together with the military genius Napoleon Bonaparte. Then you come very fast to Russia, USSR, the Bolshevik Revolution that took place in 1917, headed by Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin. So these revolutions, they carry a life of their own the moment they start. So what Gen Zs did yesterday just reminds Kenyans of the revolutions that have taken place, even in Africa, the Arab Springs. And it is possible. Why? Because the only thing that the Kenyans are remaining to lose are only chains. They have nothing else to lose. Kenyans are now hopeless. There are no jobs. There are no, when you look at matters education, fees has been increased by this draconian government. And that is why we are here today as young people, ready to unite, ready to forge a way forward, such that we are ready to break a table in case we are not on the table.
But where you sit in Parliament, and you're very vocal, Babu, I mean, you're like a voice in the forest, one lone voice in the forest. There's no opposition where you are. There's zero opposition.
Jeff, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And therefore, Jeff, it only takes one person to start revolt. Jeff, if the opposition is bought, Babu Owino should not be bought as the same opposition that is bought. But I want to tell you that there are those people in opposition also who are also playing their roles under the doctrine of separation of powers, checks and balances that was opined by Charles Louis de Secondat de Baron de Montesquieu in the 17th century. We in opposition, I won't say that there are those who are not bought by the government, but we in opposition, those who are still remaining, we will keep hope alive because we will fight one day at a time. Because the enemy is not Babu, the enemy is not Boni, the enemy is neither of us here, but the enemy is Ruto.
Jeff.
Hold on, Bonnie, you want to say something before I ask you a question?
Yeah, so it's in the budget committee, there are 15 members, right? 8 Kenya Kwanza.
We are in the budget committee, we are 27
You're discussing a side issue here.
No, okay, so
I want to discuss the big thing.
Okay.
Remember I asked you about the Arab Spring, right?
Yes.
Why don't you call this one the African winter?
Because it's July.
It's June, July. It's cold months.
Oh, and Sabasaba is coming up.
Sabasaba is going to be hard. So the thing about this struggle and what these young people are doing, it's an accountability revolution. They're holding their leaders accountable to the mandate of their offices. I don't want Babu to give me a handout or pay my kids' school fees or to speak outside Parliament. I want him to do his work in Parliament. Because if he does his work oversight in Parliament, then he's going to hold the President accountable. Because this Parliament has allowed a lot of illegalities. Like the budget that they approved or the budget they discussed in Parliament and the one that we have in Parliament is giving so much money. There's a slash from 800 billion shillings to regard this as a confidential fund. The work of these members of Parliament to ask us, where is that money going to? So the Gen Zs will actually define the name of this era and what they're trying to do. But it's all about accountability. But the thing is, we're telling you, if you're not accountable to us, and if you get bribed with this, whatever money you've been bribed, you shall not enjoy that loot because it shall expose you. When you get into that plane on Kenya Airways, there's something called BNN. Tutaambiwa huyu jamaa alikuwa kwa ndege na mtu fulani. We shall expose you and shame you to a level where you either work or resign and become a private citizen.
With respect to Babu, I think politicians just keep out of this.
Out of this movement?
Out of this movement, entirely.
Completely.
And even yesterday there's a lady who said, Baba, please
stay away.
Stay
away for now. And they said,
stay home.
Yeah, and I think the politicians should keep away from this. They are the ones who are the greatest threat to Gen Z and what they want. And there's history to it. In 1997, when we had the Change the Constitution movement, and we were just about to succeed, until then the politicians came into the issue. Moi then formed the IPPG, Interparliamentary Group.
Yes.
And then they stole the thunder away from civil society. So while civil society was meeting at
Fungamano,
a big meeting was held at the chamber, that county chamber. Yeah. And that was the end of that struggle.
There's no reforms, no elections.
It was over. And the next thing we had is minimum reforms.
No reforms, yeah.
It took another 13 years to ever get that constitution again.
But Gen Z is not going to allow that. That's what you say. Should not allow that.
They should not.
No, they will not even allow it.
They will not.
If you're a politician and you show up,
politicians will eventually
they will
come
kick
up
you out.
because at the end of the day, politicians must come in.
But can they be bought?
But
no, they can. There's no one person to buy. Who are going to buy? There's no leader.
Jeff, when it comes to about politicians,
yes.
Council, I think that politicians are different. If you look at the history of Babu Owino, who is seated next to here, Jeff, here in your station, you have data from InfoTrack that was commissioned by Citizen that was showing that Babu Owino was among the top performers as members of parliament in this country. What am I trying to explain?
I don't know what you're trying to explain, but...
this is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
That not all politicians are bad.
You're just trying to tell us that you're different.
There are those politicians, and it might not just be Babu alone. You could get 3, 4, 5 politicians, leaders, who are genuinely working for Kenyans. But there are those leaders also who are compromised.
All right, let me take
Therefore, we need to look into it and say that those who have the goodwill of the people can work with us together.
You're trying to say you're a nice guy.
When we, of course, definitely.
You know what?
Definitely.
This is a danger I am saying, because what Babu is saying is that politics are about delivery. I'm working hard, and I'm delivering this. There's a bigger issue here.
Yeah.
It's not about hard-working politicians. It's not about who is going to deliver. It's about a generation that wants to write how they want to live. It's about a generation that wants to write their future. We woke up and said we are not going to live in a country where politics is controlled and we have no political choices. And we made that happen. They need to sit down and decide what their future is.
What they want.
And what they want. And this is about people and how they're going to be 30 years from today. And that conversation, if politicians come in and say, bring it down to a question of good politics and being accountable and being reliable as an elected representative, you're going to make them lose the focus.
Well, Gerald, do you agree?
I completely agree. I completely agree that this is a people-led initiative and should remain so.
And if a politician tries to intervene or slip their way in, what are you guys going to do?
Kick them out.
They'll be ejected.
Honestly, we really want this to remain people-led. Let the young people do their thing. Politicians have had their chance. And the only reason young people are out there representing themselves is because the representatives of the people have failed them time and time again, until they have gotten to a point where they're like, you know what? We can actually do this ourselves. Article 1 of the Kenya Constitution says all sovereign power, after all, belongs to the people of Kenya, who is we.
We the people.
I agree with that.
The people.
Jeff. I agree with that. I think we keep politicians out of it. We keep politics out of it.
Yes.
But we bring leadership in it that is leaders.
Absolutely. I want to take a break, come back. But there, Shadrach, as we take a break, Gathoni Mushomba has called. She called.
I'm sorry, Madam Amushomba. I misspoke.
She's a very... she's good. She's good people.
They're good people.
But you know what, Senior Counsel?
Good people, for sure.
Gen Z are quick to admit when they're wrong. Now, he apologized.
You see, they have their own values.
Yes, values.
They have values, and they want to see those values in the political system, in their lives, in the way they are led, in the way they live.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, we need to leave them alone.
A politician would have said, I was misquoted.
Yeah, we need to leave them alone.
I was not misquoted.
But Wamushomba really wants
All right, let's take a break, come back. Great conversation here on The Way Forward. It's a brave new world. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll go to the magic wall in a little short while and answer a few more questions. Take a break, be back in a moment. I'm telling you, she did.